I'm going to show you something that can save you a lot of time. I have my Jira board open and I'm going to go to the top left and open up an extension called Loom. And all I'm going to do is hit start recording. Now Loom is recording myself as well as my screen, and I could run through a quick tutorial or a how-to of my screen and then click stop. So I'm going to really quickly go through and say, work items come into to do. I have create prototype for new videos for Overwatch. I can move this into design, then into testing, and then into launch. And that is the process that we use to actually put together and implement new features and designs within our engineering team. And now that I've wrapped up recording, all I'm gonna do is hit the red stop button at the bottom. And now, if you really neat things start to happen, I get redirected to this page where AI actually gives me a title for this video. I could go through and see a summary as well as chapters. And in here, there is a full transcript of every single word that I have said. Now, the part that saves me a ton of time is going over here to the top right, clicking the share option, and I could enter in an email or just hit the copy link option and share this with whoever I like. And the reason I love Loom boils down to one primary reason. It saves me a lot of time. It's quicker than a meeting. I could go in, record whatever I need to, share whatever I need to, and then send it to whoever needs to view it. It's much better than a long worded message. I would rather just look at a 3-minute Loom with all the context and information in it than read a whole book that was sent to me just to get the same amount of context. And it just has way more context than a basic image, especially if I'm sharing a how-to, some kind of tutorial, something happening on my screen that I want to show in real time. It's going to add a lot more value than just a still image. Now you could probably see how valuable this can actually be, and not just in a business setting, but even for home and personal use. You could share tutorials on how to do something, which is probably what I do most of the time. You can record something with even more context. I actually like to do this a lot for my iPad, where I pull up the Loom app and actually draw on screen exactly what I mean. And you could even record full-blown YouTube videos using just Loom. And it's actually a lot more common than you might think. You probably haven't noticed it, but a lot of creators these days are using just Loom to record all of their YouTube content. Now let me show you exactly how you can get started with Loom. The first thing I'm going to do is head over to the extension store on my Chrome browser. And in the top search bar, I'm just going to type in Loom, and it's going to be this first option here. And all you have to do is hit this blue button, add to Arc. Because I'm using Arc browser, that's the option that I have, and click add extension. Now there's also a desktop app, an iPad app, and an iOS app if you wanted to use those options. The browser extension does tend to be the easiest and quickest option for the most part. Once installed, you'll be taken to your Loom page that looks a little bit something like this, and you could either hit the record a Loom button right here, or optionally go over to your browser plugins, and I actually like to pin Loom, that way it's super easy to find in the future, and then click the Loom option from up here at the top left. And immediately we can start recording our very first Loom. All we have to do is select which screen we want to record, which camera and microphone we want to use, and then click start recording. There's also a couple of really cool features you might be missing even as someone who uses Loom on a daily basis. The first one is that Loom could actually take a screenshot, and this is a great alternative for your out-of-box screenshot tool, because you could select a custom area, a current tab, and then you have the option to share that screenshot with pretty much anyone with a simple link. So there's no reason to fumble around with large files. All you have to do is take the screenshot, copy the link over, and send it to whoever needs access. And then there is the blur option. And when I click on this, I'm able to blur entire sections of an actual page. And that way, I could record a single page, even with sensitive information, just by blurring certain elements of that page. Now, after my Loom is recorded, we're going to be taken to a screen that looks like this. Now, we already went over a high-level overview of this page, but there are a couple of things that we could do to make Loom even more effective. And the first thing I want to show is the editing. I could easily remove all the silences in my video just by clicking this toggle. I could add captions to my video, and I could even cut and edit certain parts and certain aspects of the entire video. That way I remove any weird spots in the middle or any weird outtakes that I may have tried that didn't quite land. And what I absolutely love about this editor is that you can highlight an entire section of words and then just hit delete, and your video is automatically updated and can be stitched together as one new video with all of the irrelevant stuff immediately cut out. And once you're done polishing up your video, you could go ahead and share it using the blue link at the top right. Now, probably my favorite feature of all time when it comes to Loom is the activity. When I do send this out, whether that's to a client, a customer, a prospect, a team member, I could see exactly when they view the video and how much of the video they viewed. So I don't actually have to guess whether or not the video has been received or viewed. All I have to do is go over to the activity tab and I'll see the metrics on every single viewer individually. And here's a very basic example of what that would look like. You have a total number of views, the average completion, and then the specific viewers. And if they're logged in, you could actually see who they are, but sometimes it'll show up as anonymous. But this is awesome because you actually see who's viewed it and for how long. But this is really awesome because it actually breaks down all of this information in one easy to see place. Now, there's actually one more feature that I personally rely on a daily basis that I could absolutely not live without. And that's going to be the meeting recording feature. And I'm sure you're familiar with the other tools out there that do something similar, like Fathom and even the new Loom AI, but I much prefer using Loom for two big reasons. Number one is that all of my video content currently lives in Loom, and I'd rather just go to one place to see all of my recordings, all of my meetings, and everything along with it in one place. And number two is that it's directly integrated with Jira and Confluence. So when you go through and connect your calendar, you could then go to the Settings tab and scroll all the way down to Generate Meeting Notes in Confluence. And when this is enabled, you can select the specific location where these meeting notes are located. And this is an absolute game changer for anybody who heavily uses Confluence like myself. And once the meeting ends, this is what you're going to see. It is very similar to what you saw earlier with the other Loom videos with a little bit more features and context. So we have all the chapters laid out, the summary, deadlines, next steps, everything else that you could possibly want with a full transcript. And then there's an option to also generate notes directly in Confluence. So if you didn't already link this to an existing Confluence page or take those notes earlier automatically, you could easily do that right after the meeting ends using this button at the bottom right. Loom really is just one of those apps that makes my life so much easier. And at this point, I couldn't really imagine a day without using Loom. So check out Loom for yourself using the link in the description below and get unstuck with Loom.